Board of Trustees of Crystal City Independent School District will meet in special session at 5:30 PM Monday, August 10th, 2026 in the Administration Building, Boardroom 613B. Call the meeting to order at
5:31 PM.
roll call, please.
Mr. Vince Martinez,
Here.
Mr. Sammy Houston, absent. Mr. Cruz Mata, absent. Mr. Victor Bonilla III,
Present.
Mr. Gabriel Espinosa,
Here.
Mr. Ray Espinosa, absent, and Mrs. Penny Young.
Here.
For the record, we do have quorum. A moment of reflection. Just did
Or at 5:30.
Item 4B, public hearing on the 2026-2027 budget and tax rates.
Good afternoon. I'm Roberto Velasquez. I'm the school district. I'm going to read out some items to you. The public notice that went in the paper a week or so ago was this document in here. You might have any documents. This tax rate in this notice is not the tax rate that is used on the budget that will show up later. This is the maximum rate that the district is currently asking for. That's public notice, giving the public a heads up of the proposed tax rate that it's anticipated doing. Okay, that'll be later coming down in November. Again, you'll see those numbers where it says maintenance tax, the proposed rate is 0.7869. The M&O rate below that for debt service, I'm sorry, the INS rate for debt service is 0.3040. You'll notice right next to it, it says maintenance and operations. This represents a decrease of about 17.32% from the prior. Okay, that's our budget there. On the debt service, it drops about 1%, maybe 2% is 0.18%. Total expenditures have dropped from one to the next. It's a decrease of 15.17%. You can see the numbers there. It's in a comparison of appraisals that the appraisal district provided our agency, Mokasi, to prepare this document. They do the TNT. This is part of the TNT documentation. On the back side of that document, second page, you'll notice at the very top is a comparison of proposed rates with last year's rates. First item, the maintenance and operation last year, the rate used was 0.6669. The district compressed rate is actually 0.6169, but the board several years back approved the allowed for 2 cents or the tier 2, the additional 5 cents, hence the 66 cents, okay? That does not require board approval. Below that, you have the debt service, which was 0.6446%. I'm sorry, that was actually the rate to maintain, the 0.6446, and rate to maintain in debt service was 0.2938. Combined would be a 0.9384 cents on per $100 valuation. Proposed rate combined rates this year, you'll notice the 0.7869 and the 0.3040 for a total of $1.0908 cents. The notice that was in the paper projected because of the values that the appraisal district provided, the information they provided at the time they did the notice, projected about $43 in savings, overall savings, sorry, in additional costs, not savings, in additional costs to the average taxpayer on the values on properties that they used for this survey. It turns out it's approximately $39. So it's not much of a difference because they adjusted their values, last year's values, at the time they did this. I'll go to the budget now. That's the notice that was provided in the newspaper of this meeting, of this hearing, okay? This hearing is entertaining questions from the public and to inform the public as well. This document here is the proposed budget. It's pretty small print. Proposed budget at the top is indicating the projected revenue sources. The first one being over on the left, you'll notice a column says 5,700. That's local school district general resources. They could be from selling on aluminum cans, to gate receipts, things of that nature that do not involve state funds or tax generated revenues or federal revenues, such as grants, indirect costs, and so forth. So for 5,700, for the 100 funds, which are your basic state and local funds, is $8,404,078. Across, you'll see under the 500, which is debt service, we have $3,438,240 for a total of about $11,842,000. That's from local sources. Okay, that includes taxes, property taxes, delinquent taxes. The column that reads 5,800, which is state revenues. We're anticipating approximately $9,597,436. That's for all programs across the state requires or reviews via our system, which is called the PEIM system, the Public Education Information System. That system generates the number of children, FTEs, and ADA, and the state says, for this district with that population, you should allocate so much money for that. This is the portion that they're allocating for the district. Across for debt service, this projected year is coming up because of the additional exemptions. I can't pronounce the acronym for it, but it's the assistance for available something or other fund. It's going to help the district pay debt. This coming year, they're projected to assist the district on the debt service by about $222,000. Many years back, we would receive more, and then some years we receive less. But the projection for this coming year is $222,000. That's a relief on the taxpayer. That means it's a little less burden on the taxpayer for the debt service. Fund balance, of course, we don't have any allocated there. Then you've got the 7,900s, which is other sources. In this district, we transfer money for a time warrant, which is a bond, sort of a loan that the district got back in 2016 or 2017 for some construction. And that has to be paid through local funds, actually from the 199 fund. So these funds are transferred out to that debt service account, which is the time warrant. And we call that one is numbered out 598. Below that, you'll see the expenditures as they're currently allocated. You get function 11, and that's about 34% of this budget that you see here. Now that's about $8,302,000. Library, we don't have anything allocated or budgeted this year. Curriculum and instruction, we have about $70,000. Instructional leadership, that's $146,000. School leadership, $883,000. Guidance and counseling, $283,000. Attendance and social services is $98,000. Health services, got our prices $130,000. Pupil transportation, $297,000. Food service, $1,135,000. Co-curricular activities, we have $349,000. General administration, $1,330,000. Plant maintenance and operations is $1,562,000. Security and monitoring, we're at $291,000. Data services, $313,000. The debt service is at $8,484,000. You'll notice that $4,740,000 over on the left side under the 100 funds. That is the repayment on the loan that the district secured not too long ago, several months ago, back in April, May. The district secured $4.5 million. The other $200,000 is interest and fees and so forth. That is debt as well. That's under the object code, under the function code 71. Right across, you see the 3.7 million. That's for bonds and, and the time warrant that I mentioned earlier. Overall, that's 8,484,000. Paying agent is a service that districts sometimes collaborate. And our district, our special ed program collaborates with, I believe, Hondo or Uvalde. And that's a service we pay for their assistance in the programs to service the students here at Crystal City. The next one is 99, function 90, function 93. That's at 52,000. That's a fiscal agent. Well, that's the one that I'm talking about for special ed. The 99 interlocal agreement, that's our tax office. The appraisal district, they do appraisals and they do collections for the school district. That is a share of the district's or the district's contribution into their budget. We have to share that cost with the other taxing entities. The other services, 00, is the 83,000 that I mentioned. We have to incur it in our budget, allocate that money. We're going to transfer it over to our debt service, which is the time warrant that I mentioned above. We have a graph here of those costs by function and those dollar numbers. Right at the bottom of the page are the tax rates associated with these figures. Okay, there it's generating 0.6669, and for the M&O service or general fund, for debt service is the 0.30395. That's what this budget is set at. Okay. If the Vader were not to be successful, this budget is set at that level. But I want you to look at something. I turned the page already, but if you notice something above that graph in the middle, right below the numbers under the object or function 00, says estimated variance between proposed revenue and proposed expenditures. These numbers are based on projections a year as a whole from now. We're projecting student attendance, student participation, FTEs in the different programs, which means full-time equivalents. We're also projecting collection of taxes. Those at central office, we do not have a great deal of control over. That comes from campuses and outside the district from taxpayers. So these are numbers put together in this particular year and the last few years by Moken Casey and the tax office and some PEMS data that goes to TA. So again, these are projections. If these hold true, we'll be right at these numbers. They fluctuate. Throughout the year, those go up and down depending on attendance and tax collections. This budget with respect to revenues, anticipated revenues, and projected allocations and expenditures is at a shortfall of about 1.3 million, $1,324,992. We are short. In my experience in school districts and doing this business, I have never showed up here with a budget such as this. This is a particular circumstance, and we have a way out. This particular Vader is coming up, should generate over $1.8 million, which would clear us from this and provide some extra funds for the programs that we are not allocating revenues for, and maybe a little extra for those programs that are not in this budget. This budget does not have everything that the district will need. So having said that, do you all have any questions?
I think my only question is in regards to the 5,800 with the state program and revenues, can you give a little bit more information? Because the 222,000 is the ASD funding, right? In the terms of the payment ledgers and things like that. That's ASD versus the FSP, right? The foundation school program, and then there's another program that we get money from, and that's the ASD, or is it ASF?
This is, I'll be honest with you, I don't know the code for that one, but it is tied to the bonds, and it's probably coming from the foundation school program. The available school fund is a much smaller program.
Okay.
That's about, maybe this coming year, about 813,000.
Okay.
That's pretty much foundation money, okay? That they're assisting the district. If you recall the additional exemptions that the state provided, well, that takes money away from school districts, and they're holding us harmless, all school districts throughout the state. So this is their share of that contribution.
And my question is we have here, it's about $9.8 million in total state program revenues. But when I review the FSP payment ledgers, they're roughly about $5 to $6 million is what they are saying they're going to pay us now at this time. And I know those are all based on the ADA rates and everything that we've submitted to them. And I know that it fluctuates throughout the year, but I don't know if we ever get near towards the 9 million or the 7 million that we had projected last year. And
This year we have, and I mentioned the agency, Casey, they generated these revenues, these numbers, okay, based what we call the summary of finance. If you look at online, if you look at TA's website and you look at the summary of finance that TA's posted there, it's very different than one that we're using this time around. The FTEs that Mo Casey used are actually more to the correct versus the projection that TA was proposing in their site. So, and it varies. I understand you're saying they're providing or suggesting 5 million versus the 9 million.
Mhm.
But that has to do with values as well. TA had in their formulas 1,500 million in value. The certified values this year, this tax year, the 26 that Mo Casey is using, is 1,100 million. A significant drop in possible revenue to be generated from the taxpayers, from the locals. So they anticipate that the TA will come in and give us the difference or supplement the difference. And again, those are numbers that the agency helped us put together, and I can share that at another time with the board as a follow-up.
Okay.
Thank you for your questions, sir. Any other questions? That concludes my presentation, unless I'm missing something that anybody can think of.
another question that I have is just, we do have this by function list, but right now it's school starting and everything is there already a budget created where different I guess, programs throughout the district start pulling money from? Is there money allocated already to different, high school, junior high, whatever the case may be, by line item?
The year before and the year before that, I wasn't here, I haven't been here for a while. This budget is a line item budget. This is a summary of that line item. Every line item that we expect will have a cost, we've allocated some dollars. This is the neck in the hourglass of all those numbers. For the 100 funds, it's about 167, 68 pages. We do have that. And I've sped up a little bit, but if you look on page 2 of 2, which is this one here, we do a comparison. The top section is a breakdown by function and by object. Object meaning, is it payroll costs, is it contracted services, supplies, materials, others such as travel and insurance and so forth. Debt service. Of course, other uses, which is the transfers out of money that we send out over to the debt service or the time warrant. The top section is the one that speaks to this coming year that's being proposed. The section down at the bottom or in the middle is the prior year. Okay, that's in the system. Okay. Down at the bottom, the last section down there, it's a side-by-side by function. But moving back up to on the page, you'll notice that we've got payroll costs total for the year at about 12,442,000. In contracted services, 1,456,000. Excuse me. Supplies and materials are at 1,200,000. Other expenses are at 570,000. And debt service, of course, is the 8,484,000. I want to make sure that you will remember this. That loan that I mentioned earlier, the local, is already accounted for in this budget. At 4.5, 4.7 million, it's already in there, okay? It's already allocated. It's part of this budget, repayment of those funds. We must make good on those funds.
I was gonna ask you a question in reference to that,
Yes, sir.
the debt service. Is it a must that we need to show the whole amount that we borrowed? Or for the current budget, or the one that we're gonna work on adopting, should it only show the amount of it that we're gonna pay back?
We're gonna pay it all.
We're gonna pay it all within the year?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I wanted to
As a
make
matter of
sure.
fact, the schedule is October, November, and December. The state provides funding September and October, and then in August. So a lot of those revenues and hopefully tax-generated dollars are going to assist in making that repayment. And it's at approximately simply in the principal of about 1.3 per payment, in principal alone. Okay, we've got interest as well. We've already started paying this year some interest. We've paid about maybe under 40,000 in interest these last couple of months towards that. Okay. But yes, we are required to show every penny. These are public funds, we must disclose that.
And in terms of fund balances that are shown here, it shows a maintenance and operations a negative 2.3 million with the INS balance at about 6 million. That is not, that includes the 2.7 in debt that we owe,
I
or?
believe so, yes.
So
And the
it's-
appraisal dis- I'm sorry. The appraisal district assisted in some of these numbers, but yes, it's due to the debt service fund.
So it would be, what we actually have in those funds would be the 6 million minus the 2.7 that we owe to INS.
The INS
Function.
owns-
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And again, down here, the last section, the furthest to the right, you'll notice a comparison, side by side, of both numbers, and the percentage in this particular budget that's allocated for each of those functions. Function 11, you've got about 34% of it. And down further up to 71, I just bring this to the attention, the debt service is at about 34%. So we're spending instruction, we're spending in paying back to the school districts.
Do you have a projected cost, cash flow analysis for 26, 27 school year?
We don't have that because this is what starts, kicks it off. We don't have that yet. We will sure be working on it this week. And anticipating the revenue that TEA will be providing the district September and October, along with projecting payments and costs that will be showing up shortly thereafter. So when you mentioned or asked about staff having access, to be honest with you, we'd hope they didn't rush to it, so we have monies available to make those payments. But yes, there will be there, so right after September 1st. Any questions, anyone else, comments?
This is a public hearing, so anybody can ask a question if they see it.
You're not limited to 5 minutes. Or what's left in the clock anyway, maybe 6.
Oh, yeah, 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you. I guess that brings us to number 5. Any public comments or any, no? Public comments? No. All right. And now adjournment. Do you have a motion?
Motion.
Motion made by Mr. Gabriel Espinosa, seconded by
Second.
Mr. Houston. Discussion? All in favor? We are adjourned 5:55 PM.